So let's talk about something that's absolutely crucial for students with disabilities: planning for life after school. We call it transition planning, but it's so much more than a checklist. Think of it as building a bridge to a fulfilling adult life. And today, we're going to explore how we build that bridge together.
I mean, this is the big question, right? For every single student, for every family. That moment after graduation can feel a little bit like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into the great unknown. But what if we thought about it differently? What if it's not a cliff at all, but just one side of a canyon we need to get across?
And that is the whole idea behind this explainer. See, effective transition planning isn't about just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. It's about constructing a really sturdy, reliable bridge to adulthood, piece by piece, with a clear plan and strong supports. It's a collaborative project, for sure.
Okay, so let's get into it. Every good construction project, bridge or otherwise, has to start with a blueprint. And in our world, that blueprint is the transition plan, a really important document that has some serious legal weight behind it.
The foundation for this whole blueprint comes from a federal law called the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. You'll hear it called IDEA. Now, this law is a game changer. It says that by the time a student with a disability hits 16, their Individualized Education Program, their IEP, must include a plan for what comes next for their post-school life. It's not optional, it's the law.
And IDEA gets really specific about what makes a good blueprint. The goals for after high school, they've got to be measurable. Something you can actually point to and say, yep, we did that. They also have to be built around the student's own unique strengths and interests. No cookie-cutter plans here. All the services need to be coordinated, working together. And the whole thing has to be focused on real-world results, on what life will actually be like.
Okay, this is a really common point of confusion, so let's clear it up. Think about it like this. The post-secondary goal is the destination on the other side of the bridge. Maybe that's enrolling in a vocational program or getting a part-time job. The IEP goals? Those are the steps you take while you're on the bridge to make sure you get there safely. Things like learning to research different programs or practicing your interview skills. One is the destination, the other is the journey.
So, we've got our blueprint. Now it's time to actually start walking that path across the bridge. And a huge piece of this journey is career preparation, which usually happens in 4 pretty clear stages, with each one building on the one before it.
It all kicks off with career awareness, just figuring out what is work, what kinds of jobs are even out there. Then you move into exploration, where students start to connect their own interests to what different jobs are like. After that comes preparation. This is where things get real. You're shadowing people, you're learning specific skills, and finally you have career placement, where the student, with a whole team supporting them, actually gets a job. It's a logical path from A to B to C to D.
Having a bridge is one thing, but being ready and able to walk across it yourself, that's another. For a student to cross that bridge with confidence, they need their own personal toolkit, packed with skills for independence.
The first, and maybe the most important tool in that whole kit, is self-determination. This is really the heart of independence. It's about being the one in the driver's seat of your own life, making your own choices, setting your own goals, and knowing how to steer when you need to.
So how do we help students get this tool? Well, it's not something you can just hand over. It's built through practice. We give them real choices that matter. We help them figure out what they're truly good at and what they love. We teach them how to make a plan. And, this is a big one, we have to let them make mistakes. A wrong turn isn't a failure, it's a lesson. And whenever they plan and choose for themselves, we cheer that on.
All right, the second must-have tool in the kit is self-advocacy. If self-determination is about deciding where you want to go, self-advocacy is about having the voice to get the help you need to get there. It's knowing how to speak up, say what you need, and find the right support.
And we build this skill by creating places where students feel safe to use their voice. It can be something as simple as teaching a student how to explain an accommodation they need to a boss, or how to ask a professor for help. It means teaching them about their rights, giving them chances to lead, and showing them how to find information on their own. It's all about empowering them to be their own best advocate.
But here's the thing. No one builds or crosses this bridge all by themselves. A student's personal toolkit is vital, absolutely. But so are all the external supports. The pillars and the cables that hold the whole bridge up. And that's your post-school system.
A lot of that support starts right in school. The IEP team can offer way more than just help with classes. We're talking about real career guidance, training in social skills for the workplace, and setting up actual experiences in the community and at job sites. And of course, directly teaching those toolkit skills, self-determination and self-advocacy, is a huge part of the school's role.
And then there's the entire community outside the school doors. Agencies like vocational rehabilitation can be absolute lifesavers, offering everything from job coaching to help with technology. You've got independent living centers, mentors, and supported employment programs. All of these pieces come together to create this amazing network, this safety net that makes the transition feel secure and possible.
This quote right here really hits the nail on the head. It reminds us that a student's life isn't split into neat little boxes, so our support can't be either. I mean, it's fantastic to get a job, but that's connected to being able to physically get to the job, right? Transportation, housing, managing money, it's all interconnected. A truly great transition plan gets that and makes sure all those moving parts are working together. So let's just pull back for a second and look at this whole structure we've been talking about. When you put it all together, it's a pretty amazing, comprehensive way to help launch a young person into their future with confidence. So here's the bottom line. You start with that solid blueprint, the transition plan that's backed by law. Then you make sure the student has their own personal toolkit, filled with skills like self-determination and self-advocacy. And you wrap all of that in a strong support structure from the school and the community. When you do that, it's not just a plan anymore. It's a real pathway to potential.
And that leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question. This whole framework is incredibly powerful, but its strength really depends on how well we use it for each individual student. So the challenge for all of us, educators, parents, community members, is to keep asking ourselves, how can we build an even stronger, more personalized, and more effective bridge for every single student who needs to cross it?